painting again. Hi, I'm Erica Film My Phone and welcome to another video. Today we're painting again. Thank you all for the love on the last video. I want to talk about an album that's been on the profile pictures of everyone I follow on Instagram, which is BRAT by Charli XCX. You may remember I did react to Charli XCX's Crash before, and I'm excited to talk about this new project in this new format because I have some thoughts on it. I also have not listened to it as much as I should. I'm also going to be re-listening to it in headphones again today. For those of you who are unaware, I have synesthesia, which means I hear color in my case. And so what I'm going to be doing today is painting what I hear. So if you're ready for that, let's get into it. You don't have the plan going in. I just have a couple ideas and a couple colors I plan on using, but I don't have a plan of what's actually gonna be on this canvas. And the first color order of business is obviously the album cover has a lime green, and there's been a lot of lime green in the promotion, and all the profile pictures have this lime green unless they decide to do the white version. But we are going to emulate that. I am going to paint this lime green first because I don't think you're gonna recognize it as a BRAT piece otherwise. However, I don't really hear the lime green in the actual music of it, but as I said in my previous video, I have synesthesia, right? But it is sometimes hard to see the colors and believe the colors that I'm seeing when I'm getting a lot of stimuli on the contrary. Even though I don't hear lime green, the fact that I'm seeing this bright lime green cover every time I play 360 is going to affect my ability and what I perceive out of this project. I'm gonna make this lime green and then we're gonna get started in the album in 3, 2, 1. All right, so now it's all green and it looks lovely now, doesn't it? It took several different colors to get it to this lime green, but I'm pretty impressed with how accurate I could get it. It's not an acid, but that's not probably safe for the environment anyway. So let's get into the album. 360 is my absolute favorite song on this record. I play it all the time. I'm everywhere, I'm so Julia. So a lot of this song is very yellow to me, but the is more like a pink. I think this song is just really catchy, and I just like the, do you like what you see when you're in the mirror? You're just looking at me. Just the being everywhere and being very self-obsessed, but also the sense of also just, I don't know, self-reflection as well, which I think a lot of people have talked about this, and I'm not gonna really just repeat them. I'm gonna try my best not to, but yeah, it definitely is a sense of being braggadocious, but also being introspective at the same time. I think a lot of people are much more liking that sound lately because I feel like we've had a lot of years where we're all just all sad and all our songs are fairly moody about how much someone sucks or how we suck. And I think she's talking about it, but in a way that's more fun, beat-wise, but also with this air of being confident as well, which we also want to feel confident, but then she's letting us in and realizing, okay, it's okay to have our less confident times. Now we're in club classics. I'm not the biggest fan of it that much. I get it, but I wouldn't really listen to it on its own, ever. I do like how it's calling out her references. Like, I do like the AG and the Sophie callouts and George and all of that, and I really do like that she's showing that support and really making it a club record. And the put your hands up and dance, that's where I'm getting this pink part. I guess it's a little, well, almost looks like a little party hat on this corner. But I just wanted to have it like as like I don't know, a reference baby. But I don't think it really is the whole theme of the record. Okay, we're now getting into the songs that I don't know as well. I've actually literally have only heard this album all the way through once, and that is on me, and I apologize. I'm not here acting like I'm a BRAT expert. I am here enjoying the music. I saw Charli XCX back at Primavera Sound. Most of the footage from that did get copyright claimed when I did my Primavera blog, but you can see maybe a couple things. But basically everything that was out at that time, as well as Everything Is Romantic, I got to hear. So that was really cool, but those are really the ones I know much better, unless it really stuck out to me in some other way on my initial listen. I have not really gone through the whole project again, and that's why I'm doing that today. With that, let's get into Sympathy is a Knife. I'm pretty sure this is the one that people are saying is about Taylor. I've heard about it, but I really haven't listened to it since I heard about the drama, so. Oh, this is the one that was about Taylor, yeah, for sure. Oh God, I always forget how violent the song is. That's probably why I did not save it. I actually really like this one. Now I get it as a reference, and I'm not just thinking of the, oh, she's gonna unalive herself. I think I've gotten past that and I understand what the reference is. There's some people that you just don't want to see anymore. It doesn't mean that you actively have bad blood with them, but it means that they need to not be in your life, please. The chorus is definitely this bluer color, but it's based on this gray that I'm hearing during the verses as well. So that's why they're like kind of aligning and a little bit mixing. Well, they're also mixing because I'm not patient and I'm also just, you know, I'm still practicing and getting back into this as a hobby. And absolutely no one is saying this in the comments, but if the comments were ever to be like, oh, you can't paint, well, like, actually, I'm clearly doing it right now, so I absolutely can. Sorry, getting into my brat feelings about addressing haters that don't exist. It does feel like it brings an interesting part to this piece, but it's right. Going to mention, I said nothing during I might say something stupid, but definitely I hear immediately I don't know if I belong really in this music industry. I'm famous, but I'm not quite. I'm in this middle ground, which definitely is true. But I also think with Brat Summer happening right now, maybe she's a little bit more known. But I think, again, she's had a long career so far, and it's definitely been an interesting, more unique path that she's taken. The sound is definitely very flat, like it stays consistent. Flat, not in a bad way. The dynamics don't change. It just feels very consistent to me. And it's a little bit of this blue. I added a little light purple to it. It reminds me of Stonehenge down here, but yeah. It just feels like that. I feel like we're making a foundation. Next, we're getting into Talk Talk. Ooh, that's wetter than I anticipated. I am a firm believer in that there's not mistakes, there can be accidents, especially when I'm painting like this. You know, I'm not used to, again, doing this upright, and also I just don't paint that often. But yeah, so we're having some extra dripping. We had that a bit on the last painting as well, but I think I'm gonna keep it because I think it makes it a little messier, and I don't think Brat is a clean work. But yeah, Talk Talk is good. Okay, like, what is our relationship? How do we know each other? How much do we want to communicate with external people about this? How serious is it? And all of that. And we should just talk about it. Communicate. It's so that simple. Why do we make this stuff so complicated? It does not need to be complicated. It doesn't. If you like someone, say it. And if they say, I'm not really interested, then move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And talking phases are just kind of silly. And I don't really care about them. If you both like each other, don't be scared by emotions. I think that is an issue. I think we're all scared by emotions. And we don't need to be. I'm painting out what I'm hearing and how I'm feeling about this music as well. So, you know, I'm leading by example, hopefully. Next is Von Dutch. I love this song. It's been more of my recent song choice because I definitely was hitting 360 much more. I know that Von Dutch came out first, but I didn't really get into it as much. I thought, oh, yeah, a cool Charli XCX song. But now that song hit live and it just consistently is good and I keep singing in my head. So I have to figure out how I'm going to make it have a special moment. That might be in the middle because it kind of is a centerpiece for how the record was. I mean, it is how it started off. So let's see. This circle with this drip looks kind of like the P from like the Sophie logo. Definitely not intentional, but you know, it works out. It's come to my attention that this song is pretty lime green. Yeah, lime green with some yellow. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do about that. Well, I guess we'll see. Living that life on Dutch. Number one. There you go. I don't really know what's going on with this one. Honestly, I feel like it has an impact, but it is very light. I just let the lyrics kind of speak for themselves and there's not as much color. Maybe because it's spoken more. Definitely, like, I don't hear color at all when I'm just hearing people talk. I think it's either that just doesn't apply to me or that'd just be too much stimulation, so I just don't hear it. And since this is more of a spoken type song, like, it has this lime green and then this whitish yellow. I just kind of made that thing. I think I'm gonna doctor it up a bit when I get into a later track. It definitely should be front and center. I thought this song was about a woman being obsessed with her, and it could be, I guess, but they definitely were like, you know, you won't F her unless she's famous. So it's either about a WOW or it is about a man. So yeah, that is different because I think a lot of people have talked about this being as like relationships with women, like So I and You're Also Confusing and Sympathy is a Knife. You know, there's a lot of things that are definitely clearly about a female relationship. I don't know if this is one of them, but definitely it does have some opinions to share. Now we're getting to Everything is Romantic. And I think I don't really care that much for the repeating parts, but definitely make it easier to figure out what I'm actually hearing. It's also just spoken more, so it definitely is not as strong either. Okay, so I've decided to do this because, yeah, like, I don't know, it repeats, so it's a circle. Yeah, it definitely is like this whitish gray color. It's a really boring color. I really don't care for this song that much. And I don't really get what the song is about. I get that everything's romantic. I get that. Like, I guess she's just romanticizing the mundane and not just talking about romance as a whole, but, you know, saying everything is romantic. And yes, it's true. I was about to say I was a hopeless romantic, but I actually am a hopeful romantic. I'm definitely very optimistic. I think this works for it because it's definitely like, I don't know, creating a case around this feeling, this strong feeling from Von Dutch, even though the color scheme is not strong. I don't know why she picked this one to play at Primavera, because we could not even hear the romantic part, so it was like, everything is, then it'd be everything, like, we'd hear that, and then we'd just hear the same things over and over. So, wasn't my favorite. It still is not my favorite. It's okay, I get the messaging of it, but I think there could have been ways to make it more interesting. Everything is romantic. Well, let's romanticize the song a bit. Here's her going into Rewind, which I feel like is a constant theme with her. She did Constant Repeat on Crash. She has 1999 on her self-titled. I just wanna go back, Rewind. Yeah, all of that. So yeah, we're getting into more Rewind themes. I did not realize how good this song was. The beat's good. The idea was to make that a spiral. You know, rewinding back and spiraling. Not my favorite. We're gonna come back to that. We'll rewind. I think Rewind really has a lot to do with Sympathy as a knife and just, you know, comparing yourself to other people in the industry and thinking about where you make sense in the grand scheme of the world and the grand scheme of the music industry. So yeah, I see it. Yeah, I'm gonna want to rewind a little bit on that. We'll do something more there. We need to just take a break from that area. It's gotten pretty wet lately. But now we're doing So I, which is a beautiful song. Absolutely love this song. I don't listen to it much. It's very sad. It's about Sophie, who I got into after she unfortunately passed. So yeah, I didn't have that connection to her when she was alive. I'm sure as someone who collaborated with Sophie often and has the complex relationship that you would have with any friend or mentor, yeah, it's definitely a very challenging thing. So it's hard to listen to. And so I don't always make myself listen to it. But it is definitely a powerful song. And I think I know exactly what colors I want to go for. I made this pink purple because that's the color I hear. But also I made it like this because it feels foundational. Like it feels like a lot of this record's based on like guilt and feeling this feelings. And also just sonically, a lot of Charli XCX's direction sonically came from Sophie and PC Music. And so, yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it looks to me, and it was planned like this, to either be a bridge or also a web, and that the web like traps you in this feeling of guilt and that you're stuck, but also that you're grounded, like you're stuck in the web so you can't fly away in both a good and a bad way. Like you won't fly too high, but you can't get away. But then it's also a bridge because I think of mediums and also just like communicating with those who have passed on. There's a bridge between, you know, those who are no longer alive and the people who are still here on Earth. Sorry to get so serious and philosophical, but I mean, I think this part of the record is. We're now transitioning into a similarly colored song. It just is a little redder, which is Girl So Confusing. Yes, I listened to the remix. If we were doing the remix, it would have a lot more blue because Lord's voice is very blue, I think. Yeah, it is. It's just always like that denim color that I've used so much in the Chapel video and have been using for mixing a lot here, but not at all on its own. But yeah, it's time for Girl So Confusing. I'll be honest, I don't normally listen to it without Lord, so I wonder what it's like, again, the verse that Lord's not doing. Yeah, this one definitely just had this redder, and I just kind of continue it the same way because the implications of a whole narrative of an interaction with one person. So I is probably about Sophie, and Girl So Confusing is almost definitely about Lord. So yeah, I don't know, just the sonics of it just make it red, but I think the idea of it being like this complex web that you're trying to navigate and deal with, and whether you're trying to escape it or really just utilize it, embrace it, I think is the struggle that she's going with on the whole record. But yeah, I really like how I did that. Oh, I like that. This is looking fun and kind of emotional because I know why they're the way they are, but yeah. Let's go. We're now in the final third of the album. We are going to listen to Apple. Is she saying Apple or airport, this breakdown part? Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know what the song is fully about. You know, something about the person she's with, they're very similar to her. And yeah, she is thinking it's raw. And I think she's thinking a little bit more in a self-hate type of way, but also seeing other people imitating her and hating that. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Leave your comments on it. But it did take me back to the Girl So Confusing line, because I think in the second verse she was really like, oh, like, if you want to see me failing, then at least we're closer together then. And I was like, you want to see yourself fail, which I guess she's kind of like over this fame feeling on probably her most well-respected album yet. Good luck, Charli. You'd think for a song like Apple, I would really think of like different apple colors, but no, it's really this blue. And then it's kind of a mix between this blue, this green, and then this yellow, but we already did the green and yellow. I feel confident with those colors existing in the space. Yeah, so I'm putting this blue in here. It does remind me a lot of Don't You Want Me? I think it's called The Human League from the 80s. That big 80s song. Don't you want me, babe? It sounds like that to me. It sounds also the similar way of Get Together from Madonna. Yeah, that's definitely more green and yellow. A lot of those synths have like these like pastel-y type vibes because, well, both of them are synthetic, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, so I don't really know how I'm blending this because acrylics don't really blend. I used to do a lot more watercolor work, but I think acrylics, again, for this album, makes sense. Maybe someday I'll do a watercolor record, but this is not one of those. That looks kind of like a wing of a plane, which is similar to the fact that I kept hearing airport, and I'm pretty sure it is just Apple because that's the title of the song. Now we're going into Back to Back, or B2B. I like this song a lot, actually. This is one of my other standouts. 360, Von Dutch, and Back to Back. I know those are three of the main releases that she dropped before the album, but they're all good, and I respect them heavily for being those songs. She picked the right singles, I think, for this record, which made, I think, more people excited. The album cover was a talking point. The songs that she picked were talking points. There's more talking points on the actual record, but there's enough talking points in the initial releases that it got people more interested in checking out the bulk of the record, which I think was a really smart business decision. Back to Back does complement a lot of these other colors. This blue, yeah, this dark blue, and some of these purple colors that we've been working with. I think this chorus is so catchy. To you, I don't want to fall right back to us. I don't want to run back to her. I don't want to fall right back to back. Is that a snake that I just made? It really just is this repetitive. And for some reason on this song, I like that. But I don't like that on Everything Is Romantic. Can't tell you the difference. It was not my intention to make this kind of look like a spine and a series of vertebra, which, you know, back to back, you know, that wasn't my intention, but it is a kind of funny coincidence. I don't know what Back to Back really has to do with the project. It's just a good song on the project, and so I respect it being here. It does feel like a song that could have gotten cut just because it doesn't have any big thematic talking point. I mean, she doesn't want to feel feelings. Yeah, there you go. But there's not really a ton on the fact of her being just, you know, in her head about it. It's just in her head about this generic situation, I think, rather than something very specific. Hope the lighting is still good for you guys. I did have to move. The sun is starting to go down a bit. And yeah, we just needed not to be staring into blindness. I'm gonna let this guy drip down as we go into Mean Girls. A song I don't remember much about, but I feel like I had a similar feeling about it to Girl So Confusing on initial listen. But this one does have Lord in it, so it's probably different. I think you know what I decided to end up spelling. Is this Von Dutch from an outside perspective? Oh gosh, this piano part, I did not remember this. This is a song that's incredibly unrelatable to me, but it is still fun. I definitely think the majority of the song has this Fred. I do like this piano thing, and that's why I kind of started doing this alternating thing, because kind of like piano keys are. But yeah, I really also decided, hey, I'm going to spell it a word on it. It's not going to be Brat, but it is being considered pop perfection and a pop Bible, so I think we can work with that, right? I think that bright red really, it just does it. Next we get into I Think About It All the Time. I'm pretty sure this is the one that's about whether she's going to give up her career to become a mother, how she's going to handle potentially becoming a mother with also, you know, dealing with fame and music and all of that. And obviously women are held to a completely different standard than men for that. And there's definitely a lot of shaming or just expectations and all of that. So I definitely want to hear this song because I don't remember it that well. I think I was in a weird place. I mean, I was in Germany. So yeah, I don't think I was in the best mindset for the whole album to really like actually dive in deep to it. Oh, this point is so obvious. I really was not paying attention. Maybe I was transferring trains or something. Yeah, I think about it all the time. It's definitely very like a core for the record, so I had to put it down at the bottom, a little bit of a lighter tone. It definitely also has the core of the Don't You Want Me, but just without that blue. Definitely very yellow and green, so that's why I mixed together, and I made that happen. So yeah, it's just chilling down there. But yeah, I mean, serious stuff. Kudos on her for being vulnerable about that. Yeah, wow. Now we're finally getting to the last song on the record, which is 365. I think it's pretty bunt cake of her to have a remix of one of her own songs on the same project and also help you cycle through it, because 360, 365, yes, they are relevant to each other, and it definitely is interpolating a lot from it. So I do want to do something similar to it. I guess it's a motif of this kind of curve, because that's what I did before. I know exactly what I'm doing. And we're going to tidy it up. But I do think it's pretty cool. I remember the original track 10 being the remix of a song we hadn't heard of, Blame It On Your Love. And she played track 10 at my show, which was incredible. She played the track 10. It was my favorite song on Pop 2 before I really even got into more experimental stuff. And I think it's time for me to revisit that album. If you want me to paint that, let me know. But yeah, I really like that song on Pop 2 in particular. Probably one of my favorites. It was a classic for me, which is funny because it's called track 10. But I think it's really cool because it means it's a circle, and then also the spiraling that it is. I think this kind of spiral that we're going on here, having it be in the middle, is that she's constantly spiraling. She's moving around this space of all these thoughts and all this chaos. And I really think it's cool how much art she made out of these thoughts. I mean, it can be really hard to turn those thoughts into art and a masterpiece, but that's exactly what she's done. So I'm excited to finish up my masterpiece inspired by her work. Oh, she does say BRAT on this album. As you can see, I made it a smile because, yeah, we're clowning a little bit. But it's fun. It's supposed to be a little bit, not take itself too seriously, even though it's a very incredibly serious record while also being unserious. I mean, I love how that is. And, I mean, because Chappell Roan's doing something very similar, which I think why Pop is having that feeling is that we're being unserious, but also being serious. And Sabrina Carpenter is also bringing the unseriousness. I think we should have some more seriousness on it. But yeah, we haven't gotten that record yet. So this is what we're dealing with. And yeah, I like it. I mean, some of the drips are, again, not planned, but definitely much fewer than last time. I've gotten better at mixing paint, so that's good. But I have one more thing, and I don't know how it's going to turn up, and hopefully it doesn't mess up the piece as a whole. But I think for our club records, something that's happening at night, I wanted to have a little bit of vibrance. I wanted to actually add this glow stick into it. I just did start cracking it because I really did think it was completely unused. It has been used, I think, before. But I think I'm going to add it as just like a textural difference. So let's see how it goes. I think for dripping reasons, because this is much more toxic than just paint, I feel like. Maybe I'm imagining that, but I feel like that's how it is. I am going to probably have this canvas on the floor to do this real quick so it doesn't immediately drip. So with that, we have our finished product. So yeah, I let it dry for a little bit, but it's still dripping a little bit. Apparently glow stick mix kind of stays there for a bit. Update, this is what the piece looks like now. As you can see, it has gotten a little less vibrant on the glow stick, but the fluid definitely was there. It has not fully evaporated. There's definitely still some stickiness to it. It stopped being super sticky, and I can't really pull away any extra material at this time, but I have had to since recording the video. Because you can see in a couple places, there's even some places, I don't know, like right there, where you can see it's actually corroded a bit of the canvas. So I probably wouldn't recommend doing glow stick material if I were you, unless you know how to make it into a paint that will not destroy whatever you're painting on. But I think it's, I guess, a little more conceptual than of the thoughts that Charli XCX is having that's gnawing at her, whereas this glow stick is literally gnawing onto the canvas. So yeah, that's kind of cool, and I'm still really happy with it, but I figured I would also show you when we still have some actual light in here, because it definitely got a bit dark when I was filming. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I feel like it encompasses all parts of the record, and I think it's fun, but it also has some serious notes that if you dive deeper into, you'll get to. I think I also spent less time worrying about the stress of making a good painting and actually just letting my imagination and my synesthesia and just all my creative impulses just flow. But yeah, let me know if there's any other paintings you want to do. Let me know if you also have synesthesia and there's other colors that you see in this project. I would love to hear all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, please comment down below so I can see you next on my channel. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already and you'd like to be, and Thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
Get out of the dark and get